Tonight, a Fox 5 I-Team exclusive. A woman comes forward to share her story of a 13-year-long affair with Herman Cain.
I was aware that he was married, and I was also aware that I was involved in a very inappropriate situation, relationship.
Dale Russell reveals what she says about the presidential candidate from Georgia and the relationship she says ended just a few months ago.
Herman Cain loves Herman Cain.
The bombshell that could reshape the race for the White House. Only on Fox 5 News at 6. The most powerful name in local news. Fox 5 News at 6.
We are tracking a developing weather situation tonight. The first snowfall of the season could start falling just hours from now in North Georgia. Good evening. I'm Russ Spencer.
And I'm Amanda Davis. We'll have more on our winter weather coming up. But first, that I-Team exclusive. An Atlanta woman talks only to Fox 5 about what she describes as a 13-year-long affair with presidential candidate Herman Cain.
I wanted to come out and give my side before it was thrown out there and made out to be something, filthy, which some people will look at this and say, well, that's exactly what it is.
Well, senior I-Team reporter Dale Russell is here now with his exclusive interview with Ginger White. Dale?
Russ, our investigation began with a tip from a person who knew Atlanta businesswoman Ginger White and alleged Miss White had an affair with Herman Cain. The tipster also alerted other national media who all reached out to Miss White. Well, Ginger White told me she had an off and on affair for more than 13 years with Herman Cain, and she felt she had no choice but to come forward and tell her story on her terms.
I'm not proud. I didn't want to come out with this. I did not.
Ginger White was worried a political tsunami was headed her way, so she decided to head it off by confessing she was involved in a nearly 14-year-long affair with presidential hopeful Herman Cain.
It was pretty simple. It wasn't complicated. And I was aware that he was married, and I was also aware that I was involved in a very inappropriate situation, relationship.
I have never acted inappropriately with anyone.
Ginger White says she met Herman Cain in the late 90s in Louisville, Kentucky, when as president of the National Restaurant Association, he made a presentation. She was impressed. She says they shared drinks afterwards, and he invited her back to his hotel room, telling her,
I would like to definitely see you again. You are very beautiful to me, and I would, love for us to continue this friendship.
She says in his hotel room he pulled out a calendar and invited her to meet him in Palm Springs. She accepted, and she says the affair began.
He made it very intriguing. It was fun. It was something that took me away from my sort of humdrum life at the time, and it was exciting.
She says he gave her his newly published book, Leadership is Common Sense, and he wrote, Miss G, you have already made a big difference. Stay focused as you pursue your next destination. She says during the next 13 years, he would fly her to cities where he was speaking and lavish her with gifts. They often stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Buckhead and dined at the Four Seasons restaurant. She says he never harassed her, never treated her poorly, and was the same man you see on the campaign trail.
Very much the same. Very much confident, very much sure of himself, very arrogant in a playful sometimes way, very Herman Cain loves Herman Cain.
When his new book, CEO of Self, came out in 2001, Ginger White says Cain once again autographed it for her, writing, "Friends are forever. Everything else is a bonus."
Is it fair to say that the relationship is going on even now?
Well, I think it's safe to say that after this interview, we can assume that that will be the end of it. But yes, we have a friendship now.
I came here to declare my candidacy.
She says the physical relationship ended about 8 months ago, right before Cain announced he was running for president. But the communication did not. When we asked for corroborating evidence, she pointed us to her cell phone. One name, Herman Cain. She showed us some of her cell phone bills that included 61 phone calls or text messages to or from this number starting with 678. She says it is Herman Cain's private cell phone. The calls were made during 4 different months. Calls or texts made as early as 4:26 in the morning and as late as 7:52 at night. The latest were in September of this year.
We've never worked together, and I can't imagine anyone phoning or texting me for the last 2.5 years. Just because.
We texted the number and Herman Cain called us back. He told us he knew Ginger White, but said these are more false allegations. He said she had his number because he was trying to help her financially. That was the end of the call. She said she planned to keep the relationship a secret while Cain made his run for the White House until she heard the allegations of sexual harassment.
The accusations I absolutely reject. They simply didn't happen.
She says she was not surprised by the allegations, but was bothered by the way Cain fought back, attacking the women, including this appearance on Late Show with David Letterman.
All of these women are lying. They're all lying. They are all lying.
Yes, they are.
It bothered me that they were being demonized, sort of, or they were being treated as if they were automatically lying, and the burden of proof is on them. So I felt very bad for them.
And so she talked.
I wanted to come out and give my side before it was thrown out there and made out to be something, filthy, which some people will look at this and say, well, that's exactly what it is. And I'm sorry for that.
Before our interview, we checked into Ginger White's background. We found she filed a sexual harassment claim against an employer in 2001. That case was settled. We also found a bankruptcy filing nearly 23 years ago in Kentucky and a number of eviction notices here in DeKalb County over the past 6 years, the most recent this month. Ms. White says she has been unemployed and is a single mom with 2 kids, struggling to make ends meet.
I don't think that makes me out to be a bad person. It makes me out to be one of the millions of people right now that are trying to keep a roof over their head.
We also found a lawsuit filed by a former business partner, Kimberly Vay, who once sought a stalking temporary protective order against Ms. White for repeated emails, texts, threatening lawsuit, and defamation of character. The case was dismissed, but followed by a libel lawsuit against Ms. White. A judge ordered in favor of Kimberly Vay because Ginger White failed to respond to the lawsuit.
If there's a judge's order that says you've libeled someone, why should we believe that you're not libeling someone now?
Well, because I admit it, whatever happened with Kim and I happened. Just as there would make no sense for me to come out with these allegations against Herman if it absolutely wasn't true.
Her attorney at Buckley says she didn't answer the lawsuit because she didn't know about it and thought her business dispute had been settled with negotiations. Ginger White says she expects to be scrutinized and attacked by Herman Cain and the media. But she felt she needed to tell her story before anyone else told it for her.
I didn't want to do this, but it was something that I felt at the end of the day was the right thing to do. And is it going to hurt a lot of people? Yes. I'm sure I will be one of them.
Now on CNN tonight, even before our story aired, Herman Cain called Ginger White's statements false accusations that cannot be proved. He also called it a concocted story. His attorney, Lynn Wood, issued a very different statement to me late this afternoon, saying this is an accusation of private alleged consensual conduct, not harassment, which is not a proper subject for the media or the public. Russ, Amanda?
Well, that will be for the voters to decide. But in the meantime, you said that Ginger White's friend contacted the media, including yourself. Do we have any indication whether she asked this friend to do that, or did she feel like her hand was forced by the friend who tipped the media?
She feels like her hand was forced, absolutely. I asked her if she knew this, knew it was going to come out the way it did. Mm-hmm. She says it didn't. I also talked to the other person. They said Ginger White did not know that I was going to make these phone calls. once those phone calls were made, she started getting just deluged by the media.
Right.
And she felt, is what she has told me, that this story is going to come out. And I can either let it come out on my terms or sort of be the victim of it, if you will. And she decided to sit down and talk.
Nearly 14 years. That's a long time. Did she say how serious they were? Was she in love?
Yeah, I asked her that, and she said, no, it wasn't that kind of relationship. I asked her if there were any kind of love letters, for example, and she said no. She called an off-and-on relationship during that time, and she said, I knew he was married, I knew where this was going, and I accepted it for what it was, and that's what she said.
All right. You asked a lot of hard questions in the midst of all this. Do you have a sense of whether she might have potentially an ulterior motive? Is she planning, for example, to file a civil lawsuit?
She's made no mention, nor has her attorney, of any kind of lawsuit at this point in time. None whatsoever. She said that there's been, she has no interest in any money at this point in time, is what she's saying. If you want to get your story out, this is a good way to do it. If you want to file a lawsuit, if you want to go another way, I'm not sure this is the way that you would want to go about it. I think you would take some different steps, perhaps.
I saw the Cain interview on CNN this afternoon, and he said that he considered her an acquaintance. She is an acquaintance that he thought was a friend. So it's really interesting how they're talking about their relationship.
Well, Herman Cain is the one who actually said to me that she is a friend, but I have helped her financially, and now she has confirmed that through her attorney, that yes, Herman Cain has given her money to help her out at times. I believe it has mostly been for rent. As you can see from the eviction notices, she's gone through a period of unemployment. She's had periods where she was having a hard time with money, and I believe that, according to her attorney, that Herman Cain has helped her out at those times.
Well, this is a story that will obviously have national political implications. It'll be interesting to see the explanation for a text or a phone call at 4:26 in the morning to an acquaintance.
This is a kind of question that we would love to ask Herman Cain. If he wants to sit down with us, we'd be more than happy to.
All right, Dale, we know you stay on it. Thank you.
We will.